One of the virtues I find in storytelling is not cutting, is really making the most out of each shot and then saying, okay, that's enough, the shot is dead, let's move on. But what if we made a shot in an action sequence so active that you could stay on it for 30, 40 seconds? To give the sense that the camera was so nimble that we didn't need to cut to make a sequence exciting. And in a way, it gives it the feel of hyper reality.
When we took on the job, we knew that this was part of the deal. You know, we had to get a realistic stunt double that would be able to be seamlessly transitioned with the live Wesley Snipes.
And it has to be seamless, so we have to match all of his mannerisms, all of his movements, all of his expressions, everything exactly, and that's the hard part.
On a shot like the alley jump shot, there are a number of different steps involved in the creation of it. The initial photographic plate that we shot of Wesley Snipes landing off a scaffolding, he was hanging about 3 feet off the ground. Well, we take this, and this is going to be kind of our bookend of our shot. So everything that happens before the shot is going to be artificial. We spent a lot of time photographing the sets that were being used or the locations that were being used, and then other parts of the city. We were in Prague in the Czech Republic, so we ended up taking pictures from the roof pointing a different direction for a nice city skyline and gluing that stuff in. So what you end up doing is kind of collaging some of the best or your favorite parts of the city into one shot.
And then we basically put him on a turntable in front of a grid and took, you know, stills of, you know, side view and front and back.
The camera was all very square. You know, we used a relatively narrow lens for, you know, as little distortion as possible, and we photographed him under a very controlled set of lights.
So this is what we ended up with, this basic geometry, and then the painters took this and worked on the coloration and the skin texture and all the displacement for his hair, reflections in the glasses, and, you know, of course, all of the tattoos. It's like a stuntman in that it's doubling for your actor, and it can do things, or it's intended to do things that would be too dangerous or not possible for an actor. In this case, you know, being able to jump out of a 5-story building and do a flip and land on the ground, and you would never be able to do that with a stuntman.
The plan was to build a green screen airbag 3 stories up in the air outside of a building. And the stunt guy was going to jump out of the building, land in the airbag. But again, because of the shooting schedule, things always go a little crazy on location and stuff, so we decided that we could save time and perhaps money by just treating it as a visual effects shot from the get-go. We really ask as much as possible the performers to run through the actions on set. So if somebody had to jump 10 feet high, we would ask the performer to jump 2 feet high, or to do a move that was somewhat similar, you know, to the move that we were going to do. Or sometimes we would break the moves up and say, well, if you can start the beginning of the jump here, and then over here, could you duplicate the landing? So then we would have an actual human reference to be able to refer to and say, well, you know what, that's what it looks like. And if we want to deviate, we can, but at least we can all agree upon this is what it could look like.
we had that battle a little bit on set of the stuntmen saying, well, you know, you're taking away our work. And we weren't taking away anyone's work. We were hired to do something that they couldn't do.
You know, what they do is actually, it's more impressive to me than what the CG stunt double can do, what the human being is capable of doing. Some of the shots I would be seeing, you know, the dailies of some of the shots. And then one shot, Clay, you know, Mr. Snipes' stunt double, he was jumping over a motorcycle that was crashing down the alley. So the stunt rider drives a bike at the guy. He jumps over it. I saw it on a video screen, so I just figured, wow, they did a good job of hiding those wires, you know. I didn't see any wires as he jumped about, what, like 4 feet in the air as a bike slid under him, you know. I asked him a little bit later, and he's like, no, there were no wires. He just jumped over the bike, you know. Like, whoa, that's impressive. I mean, to me, because that's the real stuff.
When it's the actor in full prosthetic makeup, but he has to open his maw right on camera, you know, and the trick there was trying to figure out how to add this thing onto the actor's face and not have it slide around or skate around, and how the blend, you know, from where the CG element and the real skin was gonna work. And you run into the same problems that you do in prosthetic makeup. It's where to hide the scene, you know. And so we came up with something that was a little different. We started off with the photographic plate of the vampire, and this is the actor, and he's in full prosthetic makeup, which is great. We put these two little locating dots on his chin because we weren't sure if we were going to need those to be able to lock in and have the match movers have some kind of reference on where his jaw was. We ended up he had so much vein work painted on him, we were able to use that to kind of lock in and track. So after the match move head was tracked onto the photographic plate, we were able to go ahead and animate the maw opening on the computer version, and then we used that geometry to warp the photographic plate. So this is still the photographic plate. It's just taken all of this image of his jaw and stretched it out and made it conform to the open maw. And on top of that, we add the computer graphic interior of the maw with the proboscis, which is the big reaper tongue that comes out. And that's been added in. Everything is lit according to the same lights. We take, when we're on the set, we take reference of where all the lights are, and so we can use that information so that the rim light is still hitting from the same side and the same intensity. And then the comping department then adds like a blushing effect and adds more coloration, adds color. Guillermo wanted the eyes to go blood red. Basically, these things are very pale, but when they latch onto to the character, they're like a huge vacuum cleaner, and they just suck all of the blood out of these things forcefully. And so Guillermo wanted a definite color change to happen as they drained their victim, called it the blush. And then we added a network of veins over that. So, and then there's the final movement. So it's just, to me, it's really cool because you don't expect it. You don't see, it doesn't look fake. You know, you're still benefiting from the actor's real eyes in all of his performance. And then you've got this really nasty, you know, thing happening underneath. And it just, I don't know, I think I'm really happy with it. I think it looks real.